All right, good morning. It's today it's John's fault we're late. He had a good story.
Yeah, it's
What?
a video.
I don't
It's
know if it was
actually I'm
good.
launching here at the end of this live stream. It'll be launched, but it's kind of
Okay.
what I've done in my garage.
Yeah, so that's a good one. If you're not subscribed to John, Flip It Ain't Easy. Check it out. He redid his space, and that's we'll go ahead and get started early this morning. It's important to have a good workspace. Mine is currently a disaster over here.
There's a reason I only show them up here.
I know y'all would be scared to tell if I told you that 2 days ago that entire table was empty for the first time, and I can't. It's been a long time. The one thing that the auction has done is, as there's been no yard sales and not much of anything, I've been selling a lot of the stuff that I had bought to do that kind of stuff. But I went on an RA trip and for a day and a half, and yeah, all the RAs everywhere.
Hey, Scott, I bet you that you don't even know, and our viewers probably don't know, but today's an anniversary that we should probably talk about. This is my 5th year on the show starting today.
I thought
Really?
I thought it was be like Chernobyl or something.
Oh, no. We've been doing this for 5 years, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well,
That's really awesome.
it is what it is. But
So my brother calls me. I don't know if I
Cocomelon.
told y'all. My brother calls me and says they've got all these squishmallows at the Goodwill. A company donated them. They're either $1.99 or $3.99. So this was the 3.99, one of the 3.99 ones. The small ones were $1.99. It was $87 worth. I haven't looked up.
That's
I just opened the bag. Any guesses on what this one's worth? Anybody ever seen the watermelon?
$20.
Cocomelon, so it'll be worth. Is that Cocomelon?
No, it's just a watermelon.
It's just a watermelon. It looks like Cocomelon. I don't know. I don't have children anymore. I just seen it somewhere. I bet you that one's worth $25.
All right, I'm gonna have to go do it on the computer because this phone sucks.
I don't know anything about it. I'm thinking $20.
Squishmallows, man, they can. There's some of them out there. Even some of the ones that you can find. We were finding them at Dollar General, and they were. I mean, a couple of Christmases ago, and they were hot.
So they're still at Dollar General. Dollar General has switched them out. They're $12.
Yeah, that's what they were then.
And there are quite a few of them that are worth 29 to 32. They've got like 6 different ones, and 4 of the 6 are two of
Now, are
them.
you sending those into Amazon, or you putting those on eBay?
Yeah, these will go to Amazon because
New with tags, yeah, Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm switching what I do. I'm getting back into. The one thing I talk about a lot, and I need to listen to myself sometimes, is always evaluate what you're doing. And as I have, I've built the class, and I want to do more things social media wise, and have more time to do other stuff like that. So how do I find the time? I don't want an employee. Well, maybe I'm gonna hire a VA at some point. If I do, I'll record that process. But I want more time back. And so how do you get more time back without hiring somebody and getting somebody else to do part of the work? It's FBA. You know, good or bad, you lose some control over returns, you lose other things, but still dollar for dollar, FBA is still one of the and I have been doing so much merchant fulfill. Like Monday I shipped 49 things. I shouldn't be shipping 49 things. I should ship it one time and be done. So I switched phones. And of course it's not in there. Damn it. Who is this thing?
I'm buying so few things for Amazon right now that I'm just merchant fulfilling them.
All right, so I'm having problems with the Amazon app. I don't know how many of you guys have iPhone 14s. If you're an Amazon person, take my advice again. Do not upgrade to this thing. It's been an incredible disappointment. Not only will it not scan with the shit, but now every time it scans, it'll show you the first item, and when you go to scan the second item, it shows you the first item again.
Yeah, that's not just an iPhone 14 thing. That's doing it on mine too, and I'm on
But
12.
I carry the other one with me just in case the XS Max, that older 5, 6 generation, it does fine. It's never had the issue.
It must just be whatever the latest software update is, because it's doing it on my 12. When you scan it, if you're on that same page and hit that scan button down at the bottom, it scans the same thing again. You have to back out and go to the, the add a product type screen or something, or the home screen, and scan from there.
I'm currently looking for Wyatt.
Apparently the avocado's worth some money. Oh, Squishmallows.
Okay, so it's hard. One thing we found is you have to type in a lot of exactly what you want. I don't know how many people are aware, but if you've got an item that's on on Amazon this is something that you lag, shut the hell up. One thing we found, and we have verified this, if you have an item that's on a parent-child listing, so a multi-listing, say if I had Coke Zero, and Diet Coke are all on the same listing, and you look it up, just search the generic Coke on Amazon's customer side, only one of those is going to show up in the search. Amazon is not going to show you. They're going to show you rotating through, and they won't tell you how they pick which one of the three to show you. So you need to be very careful if you're looking for an item. If say you pick, if you're out doing retail arbitrage or whatever, even if you're looking at items that you're getting somewhere else, even wholesale or whatever, if search hard, search, because it can be difficult to find an item on Amazon search, because first off, they whore out the search based on sponsored, and you can pay your way up through search. And then they're only going to show you one item on a multi-listing if your search is a little more generic, unless you hit the exact wording they've got in a title. So I don't think anybody talks about that too much, but it's absolutely correct. Yeah. I never had a Samsung. I have what do I do with it? This is the 21 Ultra. I still got it. Well, actually, sorry, this is not even that. This one, the one that's scanning. This is the 10, the Samsung S10, whatever the big one is. I keep this one to do eBay with, because I don't want to clog up my regular phone with a bunch of pictures and photos of items. So that's a decent tip. Remember, most eBay is stuck at 8 megapixels or whatever it is. So I can go inside and get the $1,000 camera with the $400 lens and take pictures all day. It's going to show them the same thing as what an 8 megapixel camera will show you. So any of your phones that are at least, I'd probably say an iPhone 7 or 8, or this, Galaxy S9s, S8s, the cameras are good enough to do eBay. And so keep an older phone, pick you up an older phone for, $50-$70, and you'll be amazed not to clog your regular phone up with all these pictures.
Galaxy Note 5, it works.
Yeah. Lisa, so I figured out what the problem is by watching a video. The difference between the 13 and the 14 is, for the first time on iPhone, they changed the main camera. Remember, I've got this 14's got a 48 megapixel shooter on it for the main lens. The difference in the two camera, not only is it the megapixels, but the difference, because I'm a phone nerd, right? Is the minimum focal length. The minimum focal length on the 13 is 5 inches. On the 14 is 7.1. And so anything up until 7.1 on that camera is blurry. Sometimes an extra 2 inches will mess everything up, right? Just saying.
That's what she said.
So
That's what I was thinking.
So
I'm just bold enough to say it. That's all.
So the Amazon app is not. It's not the phone. It's not the camera. It's not the phone. It's the Amazon app. The eBay app scans wonderfully. The Keepa app scans great. Um, I've got another one. It scans pretty decent. It's as long as I get the distance right. Um, so it's the Amazon app. It's not.
Well, the eBay app doesn't scan well for me, and I've got the 14 as well. You know.
It scans way better than the Amazon app does. Holy crap!
Yeah.
The hardest part about it is I want to stick the bar close, shoe close. 7 inches is a pretty decent. If you've got something in your hand, you normally are pretty close, and you've really got to be at least 7 inches out. Hey Tony, welcome to the channel. So on Wednesday mornings we talk whatever's going on in reselling, or if there's nothing going on in reselling, we just make up shit to talk about. Answer a lot of questions. So anybody who's got any questions in the chat, try to talk about stuff that you don't find. I'll read some newbie forums, so we're gonna make fun of them here in a minute, and learn as we do it.
Well, I was gonna just touch on that. I'm very disappointed this morning. I woke up to a message that kind of actually most people would be happy about. I'm just kind of like, for content purposes, I was really interested in seeing what was going to happen here. I was at a yard sale a couple months ago, and this guy had a bunch of home improvement stuff, like brand new. One of the things that he had was sealed in the box. It was a heavy duty toilet seat cover for a round bowl, $3. So I figure, okay, pick it up, sell it for about 20. So I sat on it for a while, sold it for about $15.
You sat on the toilet seat for a while?
I sat on it for a while, yeah. And sold it for about $15 just to get rid of it. And I ended up with a return request the other day under the guise of, I just don't like it. And so, of course, I do not give your original return shipping back, and I do not give free returns. So I'm like, wow, this person is going to lose their outbound shipping. They're going to have to pay for the return label. And if it's in a different condition, because the toilet seat was sealed inside that box, it's not going to be a full refund. So I sent a message to the buyer, told them you're not getting the full refund on the return, the outbound shipping, the return label, you have to pay for. And if it's in a different condition, you're not getting a full refund. And they replied back saying, I decided not to return it. Thank you. So I was just curious what condition that toilet seat was going to be in. I mean, if you buy a toilet seat for $15, what are you expecting? Oh, well. Good video gone.
Evidently, Connie was blocked by an over-aggressive person last week. I'm just checking.
Oh, come on.
I'm making sure Connie's not in the filters. So
who blocked Connie?
Brenda did. Brenda, don't block Connie.
Oh. Yeah, don't block Connie.
We put up Connie because she is a whatever pronouns Connie is using today. Is a treasure to
we're hot on. Yes, we're hot on the trail though. We're gonna figure you out someday.
Yeah, we're gonna figure out Connie. We're narrowing down on who you are, Connie.
We got you. Closer than you think.
You have any mods?
We got a lot of mods.
Hey, I should make Connie a mod. That would solve that problem.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Connie, when you show up next, I'll make you a mod.
Oh, Connie's here.
Oh, I know.
You know, I know. Connie lives here. That's how I know.
She's always here. Yeah. So
no, Lag, you're not getting a wrench.
So Timothy's reminding you that eBay fees changed today. So while you were out celebrating with the love of your life, or you should have been at home listing and selling last night. Did I make a clearance category on eBay? Not yet.
Yeah, I haven't done it yet either.
But that's damn it.
I made a markdown sale. 30% off that I went through. There's two different ways now to do a markdown sale. You can go in and select up to 500 individual items. or you can do it by category or your whole and even new inventory. As you introduce it, it'll give it that discount. So I did the first option, and I went through and started assigning old items that 30% discount. I don't know what it is, and I don't know if it's just me, but I think I've heard other channels talk about this over the last. Had someone on my channel send me a message. The sales seem to be like a lot slower for no apparent reason. I'm listing at the same level. A lot of the new merchandise that I've been picking up lately, which has been pretty hot over the last 3 weeks, and my sales are about cut in half from what they were over the last few weeks. I don't know if it's just me, if you guys are experiencing that, but it's not what it was.
Might have been normal, average.
Yeah, I've concentrated more on Amazon, so mine are Amazon are up, but eBay is eBay is kind of interesting. Sold some interesting stuff. So if you're a estate seller in Huntsville, Alabama, please turn off right now. This is not concerning you. So come back in 5 minutes. So I picked up a color TV, the one that's got the. Most people don't want to ship this anyway, so I don't guess that really matters. Because it had to go in an 18 by 18 by 16 box. The TV with the VHS on the bottom, a little color 13-inch ones. It was a Panasonic. So it went all the way to California, which was another problem. It was 37 pounds to California. So I had calculated shipping on because I did, and I sold it for 100. I paid $6. I sold it for 100, and then got 77 to ship it all the way to LA. So if you're willing to ship big items, TVs with it would have the remotes were $30. It didn't have the remote, so I've got another one in the building. It's still in its original box. I don't think it's ever been used. It was $2 at a yard sale, and the lady just said, "Nobody wants them things. You can just have it if you want to carry it out of here." So it's a new one with a remote and everything. I don't have any money in it, so I'm gonna get it. It's been sitting in the building for I don't know a while.
I have one of those down in the basement. I got to test. But it's not a 13-inch. It's a big, I don't know, 27-inch. But it's got the VCR on the bottom. I don't think I have a remote for it. I probably have a remote for it. So.
Anyway, the nice thing about is UPS and calculated shipping. The seems the bigger the item, the bigger the discount. So it's $77 for shipping, and the retail rate on it was $67, and I paid $37.
If you're not using UPS through eBay, at least,
yeah.
I mean, you're probably using Pirate Ship, but either way, you're going to save a lot of money on shipping, especially that big stuff across the country. We use it almost daily.
Yeah, don't use retail. I mean, just go into Pirate Ship, and they don't charge anything to open an account.
Absolutely.
I actually saw a Pirate Ship ad the other day. I've never seen them advertised before.
Bring everything in. It's easy.
Well, I can confirm, though, another change today that went into effect. I was just messing with the draft. That if you go and you want to schedule your listings, it used to be 10 cents every time you scheduled one. Now it doesn't cost anything. That actually kicked in today. So that's kind of cool. It's, for me, I'm going to continue doing drafts, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and launch them instead of leaving them as drafts, so I can kind of plan out. Let's say I'm going somewhere on the weekend.
When you say launch, you mean schedule now?
Yeah, schedule them, but just list it, but have it set for a certain scheduled time. That's kind of what I've done is I've put drafts together. So if I want to take the weekend off, quote unquote, I can have drafts to launch, that type of thing. But now I can just list it, schedule it, and it'll do it for me. I think a lot of people use those third-party softwares like InkFrog and other softwares, APIs like that, just so they can take advantage of the scheduling feature for like auctions and things like that. Time their auctions to end at a certain time. And that's another thing you can do. If I'm creating some auctions and I want to pick an optimal time for them to launch and end, you don't have to come back and launch it. You can just go through eBay and avoid that third-party software.
I wonder why eBay hadn't made that change years ago. I mean, the longer you keep somebody on a site, the more apt they're going to stay on. If you give them the features that these third-party sellers, same with Amazon. the list that the sending a shipment to Amazon through Amazon is not intuitive at all. It sucks.
Right.
I use it because I have to right now, but if they would just take what Inventory Lab has or one of those companies and put it into Amazon, they'd keep everybody on Amazon. You know,
So
I don't know why they do it that way.
Delusional Picker was asking about freight for heavier items. You can set up freight shipping, but you have to bring, that's one you have to bring your own shipping, and that you once you upload the tracking and mark the shipped, you're fine. But freight shipping is one of those that's not offered by most services. You can get it through UPS if you've got a UPS account. But yeah,
I would suggest setting up a UPS account because you will get discounts as a commercial. You might not get huge discounts, but you'll get some.
But I had no problem with the 13-inch TV. I think you can go up into the figure out what's the weight limit on UPS ground. Let me look.
I'm not sure.
Real quick, Texas Bandit. I sell pretty much everything or anything that can make some money.
Yeah, like the rest of us.
Yeah, if it
works,
if the comps show that I can make money, I'm buying it.
Yeah, if it's legal, it's getting sold.
That's right.
So it's 150 pounds and 108 inches of girth. Man, we're hitting all the good words today, which means
let's say moist.
Okay, I won't say moist, which I believe is let's see, how do you measure? Is it the longest side of your package plus the width plus the height?
It's a little bit more liberal than USPS for sure, because I think 70 pounds is the most you can ship that way, right?
Yes.
Or at least in the priority boxes they give you. I don't know about. I'd have to look.
So one of the forums or one of the Facebook groups just happened to show up on my phone this morning was somebody complaining the fact that they're trying to do their taxes and Mercari refuses to send them a 1099. I sold $5,000. I don't know what the problem is. They're not required to be a freaking moron. That's what the problem is if you keep up and listen to someone like us, we'll remind you that late in the year they delayed implementation of the $600. And they went back to the rules from the years previous. So a platform, if you don't sell $20,000 and 200 transactions on that platform, they are not required and will not give you a 1099. That does not mean you are not responsible for taxes on the income. You must file and keep your own records. It is your responsibility.
And Mercari does keep some sort of records for you. What I did, I had less than $600 in Mercari sales, but I'm still reporting it because that's what you're supposed to do, right? I just screenshot it and sent it to Jared. He figured it out from there. Screenshotted what was on the screen because they do give you what you spent shipping, what the cost of not cost of goods. That's the only thing you have to provide. All the other information is there on Mercari. Same with every other website. It's all there. They all keep reports for you. Etsy does. Mercari does. I'm sure Poshmark does. eBay certainly does. Amazon certainly does. So that's how we did it this year. Like Etsy and Mercari didn't get 1099s because I didn't sell enough through those platforms at 20,000. But I just went in and either downloaded a report if they had one or screenshotted it if they didn't.
Yeah, I'm looking at a report right now on Mercari. You go into your account and easily get a report, and it uploads it or it shows it to you in Excel format. I only made on Mercari $3,000, but it's all there broken down. Just submit this information when you do your taxes.
I only use Mercari for things that I get in trouble for on eBay. So once in a while, I'll use it, but not very often.
It's my clearance store.
Well, Mercari's not bad. You know, it's not a bad website. You're not going to get the sales velocity as you do on eBay or Amazon, but it's a good place to put things that don't fit somewhere else.
Tactical Z forgot to look, so I made a list. It's going over here in the things to do.
And then Facebook Marketplace, I don't know if they have reports. I'm sure they do. I only sold a couple small items there this year, though. I think I forgot that one.
I made the same number of sales on Bonanza over the last 2 weeks as I've sold on Mercari. I don't know if Mercari is just slowing down for me, or maybe it's everything slowing down for me, but I don't know.
I got a question about Bonanza real quick, if you don't mind. Now, you can hook that straight into your eBay. Now, back in the day, I was on Bonanza back when they had under 50,000 people, fairly new website. I think it was new that year when I signed up, and my account still exists. That was like 2009-ish or something. Mm-hmm. And when you hooked your eBay into it, it didn't. You had to go through and remove the items from eBay if they sold on Bonanza. That was the beginning.
Yeah.
But I've heard people still have issues with that. Have you ever had any issues with removing anything?
No, I've sold 2 items. I've sold 2 items in the last 2 months, and in both cases, it's removed the item from inventory. In fact, I've been so used to not getting sales on a Bonanza that I've just forgot to check. Something I have to do on a daily basis now. I think I was
sure 2 days late. They send you an email when you get a sale, right?
They do, but emails that come through those accounts, that it's easy to miss it. So,
and just a reminder here for those of you who are, this is a kind of an I told you so from back in the day. For those of you who have, this is a side hustle, or you have other side hustles like where you accept tips, like if you're a waitress or something, or a server of some sort, bartender, out of all those extra IRS agents, remember, we're coming after billionaires, we're coming after millionaires, they're coming after you. They are putting systems in place so they can better track the tips you receive, because they want every single penny they're entitled to on everything you earn. I was listening to someone talk about that yesterday, and some kind of, they're they're working on a system that tracks better the way when things get cashed out, and how they're assigned to you, so that you are required to pay taxes on that. So for those of you who thought the billionaire stuff was, good luck. That's just a public service announcement, so that you can just reminded me of thinking about P&L and stuff, because I know Jared did not think yesterday when he went to work and sent me a message talking about can he get 2 numbers from to end 2022, and can he get everything from January, and can he get the 1099s? That by the end of the day, I would have actually before noon, he'd have all that stuff, and he has got my January closed out already.
He's quick, man. He's worth his money.
Yeah, he's got an assistant in the office that does some of that. So, but yeah, I know he had to be shocked that I got all that to him.
He called us the other day because he's doing our year-end taxes. We had to let him go for the rest of it, but we can't handle doing the year-end stuff. You know, we still have to have somebody. But he called to verify everything. You know, so he's so good at what he does. And he'll let you know where the numbers are. We actually made a little bit more this last year than we did the year before, which is good. You know, not great, but good. It'll help us with our consolidation loans and stuff. But
so
he went through everything with us.
Grumpy Beard cannot come out and play, but Grumpy Beard has been very satisfied with watching highlights of the House congressional hearings, knowing that Grumpy Beard was right the whole time, and everybody else was wrong for the most part, and all the ones who ran my friend's name down as they passed away and terrorized their family, y'all can go fuck off, you bunch of losers. I've read articles now talking about the unvaccinated didn't try hard enough to tell us that we were wrong and that we needed to be careful. Oh yes, we did. You silenced us, you assholes. You silenced us, you ridiculed us, you did everything to it. Take what you get. There you go.
Mark, our accountant, charges by what he has to do for you. So if you have him like on a monthly basis, it's going to be more. If you just use them at the end of the year, it depends. You'd have to consult.
Yeah, I'm an S corp, so I have to have payroll and all that stuff. So he handles all that.
Right. So your bill would be higher than mine because I'm an LLC. And if you're an individual, it would be different, I'm sure.
And right now, if you don't believe how evil the government is in the great state of Ohio that Steve currently resides, if you're not paying attention to what little bit of information you can find about the train wreck, those are some nasty chemicals that they set on fire. I mean, stuff that one of the chemicals in there, it's lethal at 1 part per million, and they decided to set this stuff on fire and put it all over the atmosphere. So
I don't think what people understand about that part of Ohio is that it's not Columbus. It's very rural.
The watershed is the problem. It's getting in the water.
That would be the Ohio River there.
It's
close to the Ohio River.
Pay attention, folks. What's going on? There's a reason why right now we're shooting down balloons that supposedly have been going on for whatever a couple of years. There's a reason they're not calling them balloons, but they're calling them objects. They want you to.
That part I do. That is a little strange because I used to follow the UFO field for years, and the government would never call anything a UFO, ever. And now they are. That's weird.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay to go on one of those balloon rides for a while.
Yeah, I've seen that meme on Facebook. I'm sending my wife on an all expense paid balloon trip.
Nope.
Yeah, and this I did see that don't worry, Pete's on the job. Pete's decided that our transportation issues are all because as we've built stuff through where it impacts communities of color or different nationalities, that the workers, don't reflect those communities, and therefore it's just been devastating to the whole infrastructure system due to the racial disparities of. Yeah, I saw that crap.
My wife's friend. Go ahead.
I was just like,
internet keeps cutting out every once in a while, so I'm talking over you, and I don't mean to.
Building an interstate, and so the companies must hire. You go through the wealthy, they only want to see white people. If you go through communities of color, they only want to see their color. That's ridiculous. How can you hire? Most of these construction companies and that kind of stuff who build this stuff, they hire the people that show up. Can you imagine with the current labor situation and building things, how hard it is to find employees, consistent employees that show up? These are not jobs that anybody wants equity in. These are not the ones that people are fighting for, going, how come we're out here building roads? How come it's not 50% female? That's not what you hear. They only want to be 50% in the boardroom. They don't want to be 50% everywhere else. And so, I can't imagine how difficult. You can't find people to work in fast food restaurants. You can't find people working. Think you're going to find people out there who are moving concrete and pouring tar hot in the summer and all that stuff? Good luck. Oh yeah, he thinks all construction workers are white. Where the hell's he been? He hadn't been to Texas. He hadn't been anywhere. When I drive by construction, you see all colors. There ain't just one color.
I'm going to switch over to a hardwired connection. We'll see if this messes us up or not here.
Mark, I can give you Jared's information, but the one thing at the end of last year he did was we talked several times. He decided that he wanted to focus more on consulting because that's the thing that he liked to do most, business consulting. And so he intentionally has pared down his client list in order to focus more on consulting, and he is not taking on new clients. Can find some people outside the Home Depot. Yeah, it's just watch the distraction, folks. It's gonna be fun to see what they do with the 6th reporting for 1099s. I think $5,000 is probably the number they'll settle on, 5 or 6. But the 600 is too low. You know, if you move money around in any of the in Venmo or any of those kind of things, $600 is not a large number when you're just look how expensive things are right now. You'll get to $600 pretty quick. You know, my brother's been picking up stuff. He picked up the 83 inch Squishmallows. He's picked up a printer. He's picked up. Now I've sent him probably 150 on Venmo this year already, and just for things he's picking up for me. No income to him whatsoever. He's just out and about. Calls me and says, "Hey, you want this?" Yeah. Peace out. So pay attention to that number. Pay attention to what goes on. Do we have to let Steve back in?
No, I could see you, or I could see John. I couldn't see you. And if I put it on the live,
Really?
I could hear you, but on this side, I couldn't hear you at all. It was weird.
Huh.
But anyway, I switched over to a hardwired connection, so I won't cut out anymore. I hope.
Okay, so I'm gonna do a blog post today. So anybody who's not following, if you care to hear any of the thoughts of my mental problems, over on thebeardedpicker.com, you can find links to the class I built if you want to learn about RA. I try to post pictures of it. I hadn't done that in a while. I'll start again. I was looking at those the other day and kind of sad. There's a picture of we were out to dinner with Dustin Tristan, so that made me sad. So I'm like, I didn't get up these pictures. But the blog integrity. What's integrity mean to you? What's it mean that you find people who are so in the because Larry's talking about his truck in the latest saga of the van. I called Toyota. They said $1,000. I called my local guy and he said between $500 to $600, depending on which one of the alternators you choose. He does O'Reilly's got 3 or 4 you can choose, a reman one or a non-reman. I was going to pick the non-reman, so it's going to be about 600. And went by O'Reilly just to make sure. They tested it. It failed. And so I get the van there and he tells me to describe what it was doing. I'm like, I'm driving down the road. All the power blinks. When I'm taking off in the stoplight, it's done it 3 times. When they tested the battery, it had no power whatsoever. And then it come right back on. And the alternator's only charging at 12 amps under load. I said 12.9 without the lights and the air conditioner on, 12.0 with the lights. He said, all right, it's most likely the alternator, but call me tomorrow. So I dropped the van off and I called him back. He's like, I need to can I test drive this? I'm like, yeah, drive it wherever you want. I don't care. He said, because I don't think it's the alternator, even though the alternator has failed and all these issues. He said, when I went and put my stuff on it to get the readings and everything to test it for myself, it didn't have any power, even though I'm hooked straight to the battery. Turns out some of the rust had developed on the positive cable at the other end of the cable and some corrosion underneath the connector where you couldn't see by just looking at it. Because I'd cleaned the cables and stuff. So, but when you lift it up and look, he said it was packed in there underneath it and into the line. So we replaced the power line, and he said now it's pulling 14 amps, and I can't get it to pull anything else. I don't think it was the alternator. And so he would test drove it. It's not having. I drove it the other day for 5 or 6 hours, no issues. Toyota would have ripped it out and charged me $1,000. I promise you, Toyota would have.
And then it wouldn't have fixed the problem because it wasn't the problem.
Correct. So, and he tells me, I don't think I did $125 work. That's my diagnostic fee. I'm like, dude, you just saved me, and I appreciate your honesty. Running on this car, I'm out of here. And I mean, it's important in life that people can count on you. They can count on what you say, and your word means something. But it's also important in your life that you find other people that shit matters. How do you build a local business? How do you build an auto repair business? You treat your customers that way. That is the way you expect to be treated.
Yeah, because you're going back there next time, aren't you?
He's already fixed part on the truck. This is the second time I've been there. Anything I've got, he'll deal with.
Right. We have a mechanic in town. Now there's a couple of mechanics in town, and they're both the ones we've used are good. But this one guy, man, Dean, he's just very trustworthy. If he'll look at, like, she had a noise on her car and he looked at it twice and didn't charge her anything, because he didn't fix anything. And so we made him cookies for Christmas and stuff. But that's the way you build trust, good customer service.
So Anissa, that's the one. I've got a couple of complaints with the Toyota, and corrosion on that battery. I should have been more aggressive with it because um, it's been the worst for all the vehicles that I've had, and I've had like 30 vehicles since we've been married. It's the worst on corrosion by far. I mean, the Toyota is. I mean, you have to keep the gel on the thing. You have to keep the little green. And I changed the battery and didn't put the gel on this new battery. I didn't put the little scour pads on there to help combat this. When I keep those on there, it does pretty well. So not only do you need to maintain your vehicles and that kind of stuff, take care of what makes you money in this business and get you around in life. But man, I was thrilled not to pay $1,000. I was thrilled that he figured out what it was, and it was something. He goes, "That's a van with 214,500 miles on original alternator." Mark, it has a brand new battery. It is a Costco battery. If you're going to buy batteries, folks, Costco is by far they're half the price of what you buy at the AutoZones and other places. So most people think about Costco as they've got great food, they've got great deals on clothes, you buy in bulk, you got good electronics, but their batteries are they're all Interstate makes their batteries. They're Interstate batteries. So Interstate is one of the leading brands in batteries. So I had just placed a battery in there as well. So Laura's son is learning on rebuilding his engine with help us. Yeah, your husband,
good skill to learn.
He is. He has a lot of skills as a mechanic and fixing his own cars and his classic cars that most of us don't possess. So for him passing that on to your son, that's a good deal.
I used to do all my own work on my cars because I couldn't afford to go anywhere else, But now the only car I work on is a Volkswagen. But
let's see. But it makes a huge difference. So you definitely want people when they think of you. That's why Steve and I have the same philosophy. If you ask us a question and it's something we don't know, I will straight up tell you I don't know, but I'll try to figure it out, or I'll find somebody that does. I don't want to give you bad information because it looks bad upon me. That's why, for the most part, I don't give tax advice out because I think it's important. Something that important, you need to talk to somebody who does that for a living, who stays up on it. So be careful who you listen to on a lot of these issues. You may not agree with my politics, and I'm all right with that, but you got to understand it truly matters. When I'm telling you something good or bad or how something works, it's because I know it for a fact, and I am not going. If I don't know, I will say, "Hey, I don't know. I'll figure it out."
I usually just send them your way when they ask me a question I don't know.
And this I checked the blinker fluid, so I knew that was okay. And YouTube is the new Chilton. I actually watched YouTube about replacing this all the time. I'm glad I decided not to do it because it's a 3-hour deal.
I found though with the YouTube videos, if you start watching them, something that you thought was super hard to do, like something on your car, like changing brakes or something, is really not that hard to do once you learn how to do it. And YouTube is a huge resource for that.
For most vehicles, there are a few exceptions. For most vehicles, brakes. The Toyota, because it's a large vehicle with relatively small brakes, it eats brakes about every 50,000 miles. I've changed the brakes on it 4 or 5 times now. It's about an hour job to change all 4 wheels. It's just not that. It's take the wheel off, and it's like 6 or 7 bolts, and you need the tool that'll compress the caliper. and lift the lid off the reservoir. It's not brakes are not difficult. Um, Tony resells. I have a PO box, but most of the time I just leave my home address on it. The PO box is I don't even know why I have it anymore. If anybody shows up here, if they watch any of my videos for any length of time, they realize I'm usually armed at some point. Even if I'm out here, there is a um, around me somewhere. Good luck. I live on a dead end street. Good luck.
There is no reason for anybody to ever come to my house, so I use my regular address. I don't have a PO box. I've considered it.
Yeah. Same here.
And I think if you're worried about people, if you don't want people to have it, PO box is probably, what are they? They're fairly cheap, aren't they?
I think they're depending on the area, they are a little more expensive. Mine is $55 for the year, I think.
That's nothing, really. For peace of mind, if that's what you're after, you know.
Yeah. I wouldn't be caught dead having one at my post office because the line to that little salmon colored slip they give you if you have a box that's too big for your PO box, that thing goes out the door and it's very slow. The idea of waiting in line 30 minutes, 45 minutes to get a piece of mail because they can't fit into your box.
So that's when you make a good relationship with the workers there, and then go to the back door and they'll hand it to you. Seriously,
I can't even get them to deliver my mail or to come do a pickup at my house.
I don't have them pick up because the lady who picks up here she's older and she's got bad knees, and I don't want her coming up my port. You know, I don't want her to get hurt. So I do all my mail at the post office, and because of that, I built up a relationship over the years, and I've been in the back room. I've been everywhere in that place,
Yeah, there are a lot of crazy people
because
in the video. So I put a post office box on the YouTube channel just because of the craziness that came from the big video. But other than that,
as YouTubers, and we're small, but we probably should not give out because YouTube can be a crazy place. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
I don't have mine listed on my YouTube. It's on eBay.
No, mine's not on my YouTube, but it's so easy to find.
Yeah.
And I think it would be that case with any of us, really. Anybody who wants to find it will.
If somebody wants to find you, they can find you.
It's easy.
I mean, if you're looking for somebody, even if they live in something like the big state of Texas, you can find them.
That's right. The big old state of Texas.
So Tom says wife knows how to change a tire, but she calls me one of our sons. We have Geico, and they have that free service with the insurance. So if Johnny, of course, when she blew the tire because she hit the curb in the neighborhood, and she wants me to remind you that how many people wrecked their cars sneezing. That's what she told me. She called me, and I had to go down there. And I'm like, it's only down the street. Just drive the car slow into the driveway, and I'll deal with it in the driveway. If you're not going to do it, there's so many ways. Don't get stuck with, especially the traveling. A lot of us do. If you're doing any kind of RA, that kind of stuff. I went through Birmingham, through the city section of Birmingham, which most of Birmingham's that way, and then on to my brother's place in Tuscaloosa, and then up through the country back over here the other day. And so it's important to have some peace of mind knowing that if something happens to the vehicle, through the app on Geico, it's very easy to get service. The van did let me down one time in its life. When it blew a fuse, I didn't know what it was at a yard sale, and they came and picked it up. Man, somebody just Larry is blowing up my phone. I'll look at your pics in a minute.
Yes, Roman brings up a good point. The governor of Ohio, in his infinite wisdom, signed a law that said, and I think there's a limit, though. I think you have to sell a certain amount, but now we have to have auction license to sell on eBay or whatnot as an auction. in the state of Ohio.
Isn't there a certain
But
number?
I think there's a number. I'm
Yeah.
not 100% sure. I haven't looked into it. I don't auction anything, very rarely.
Can
So I'm
DeWine
not too worried about it.
just go ahead and switch over to the Democratic Party? Is that too much trouble for him to quit?
I think he's halfway between. Some of the policies, like the gun policies here in the state that he's signed, are very conservative. But some of them are very liberal, so I don't know where he's at. But I don't like that law. I know states have been trying to pass that law for years, and it keeps getting shot down, and I don't know whether it'll stand. But
the problem is I understand if there's lots of things in an in-person auction, but everyone is so used to as the platforms control a lot of these auctions, certain things don't happen, and so there's not as much to worry about. It's much easier to catch a shill bidder and that kind of stuff online. I mean, look, eBay has proven to you they take that part seriously because who was the card company they shut down? They shut down one of the largest card companies on our platform last year or the year before. So they've proven that no matter who it is, if they catch you doing that kind of stuff, violating the rules of auctions, they will be done with you. And so I think the platforms are.
I have mixed. I think the state of Ohio does things like, first of all, the auctioneer lobby is huge. I know it doesn't sound like it, but in Ohio, it's big. It's a big lobby. So they're going to get their way over a regular citizen like me or you. But the second thing is the state isn't making any money off of us being auctioneers, quote unquote, when we're on Whatnot, especially, because that's all auction. Now, you can sell your own stuff. If I bought a lot of baseball cards in the 80s and I want to sell that today, it's my own personal collection, no problem. You can do that. How are you going to prove that? I don't know. But so I just think that they're looking for a way to make more money, the state. I mean, what else would it be?
I can fix it. I think we should put in some kind of law. The citizens should have a way to do things and say, hey, it's okay. All these lobbyists and all this stuff. If you want to be a lobbyist in any state and for the federal government or whatever, before you go meet with a member of Congress or you have to be flogged, publicly, just taken and beaten with a whip to see how serious you are about this. How serious you're going to take this. So every time you want to go talk to somebody on the way in, they should just physically assault you in order to eliminate this nonsense. The revolving door that the CDC and these drug companies. I mean, it's ridiculous that we allow someone who is the head of the CDC to now go be on the board of a drug company or be in charge of approving. And I mean, look where it got us. I mean, how many people we got to lose? How many young people how many football games we got to watch somebody have a heart attack on the ground because he's 24 years old? How many 24-year-olds we got to lose before we realize how bad they screwed up? There's so much out there. In natural medicine, I was watching a doctor the other day. I forget who he was, but he was talking about medicine. He said that he said if you find something that occurs in nature, the effects on the human body and preventing and helping so much greater than anything that they make in a lab. And he had statistical numbers to back up a lot of this stuff, and it's impressive, and it's stuff that you already knew. All these old wives' tales and all these things that people have done in history, they did it for a reason. A lot of that stuff worked. We just think we're smarter than they were.
I'm looking at what it's going to cost me if I wanted to become an auctioneer in the state of Ohio.
You cannot list this item because of the risk of being named in a lawsuit. A Duke University pennant. I've never seen that before.
I do know that colleges are very protective. Like, you can't sell that stuff on Amazon, or you can't reproduce it and sell it on Etsy. They'll go after you. So it's probably just an overzealous person at that university putting in claims.
Yeah, reproduction, I can see them doing something like that. Definitely, for sure.
So it is overzealousness online, folks, goes everywhere. I think I told you a couple weeks ago the video about I did the video about the one going in space. Not many people saw it. It was a blog that I was messing with. I got a copyright strike on it, and they put a copyright strike on my channel, and I could appeal it. Because I looked at the video, they linked to it and I'm like, this guy is talking about teaching rocket science, and my video is just a rocket going through space. They have nothing. Chat GPT helped me as I fashion the blog, so because it helps me be more concise and not ramble as much. So I'm like, there's no way. I used the video was copyright free. I put the thing in the bottom saying where it came from. So I did everything I was supposed to. So I appealed it and actually won. They took it off. Got an email Monday morning saying that the strike had been rescinded because they send you this in the email in the appeal process. They actually forced the person who made the claim to take it to court and to get to take it to court and prove they're taking it to court in order to hold you to the strike, and they were not willing to do that for something that was a false claim.
What people don't realize about YouTube copyright claims is that if you fight it, first of all, YouTube doesn't give anybody the revenue on that video until the claim is closed.
It's got like 300 views. I was going to be rich.
But they have to actually take legal action against you if you fight it all the way through. I've gone there. I've been there. It's a stupid process. You have to give them your name and address and all that. They don't have to give you nothing.
Yeah,
right. It's a stupid process the way YouTube does it. But if you fight it, generally they're not going to take you to court over a 30-second clip or whatever it is.
Absolutely correct. So that's the first one I'd ever had. And now it is a thing of the past. I'm very excited about that.
So in the state of Ohio, only auctions sponsored by legitimate charitable, religious, or civic organizations do not need a license. An owner of real estate or personal items, you can auction off your own stuff. Sheriff sales and courts don't need a license. Everybody else will.
So if you're auctioning off your personal items on eBay, is that an exemption then? Because you technically own them. So even if.
But if you bought them with the intent to resell, then no. So it has to be a personal item, a real personal item. I do know people who have been taken to court. My buddy Phil, Phil, Para Breakdown. He was taken to court over a copyright claim. The problem was she didn't own the copyright. It was a long drawn out thing. I met her at a conference, a Bigfoot conference one day, and I said, Phil says hi, but it was funny. It's hilarious. But some people will take you to court, whether they have the right to or not. It just happens. But so generally they don't.
Not only did Alabama beat Auburn the other day, I'm wearing this in honor of the fact that for the second time in our history, Alabama is the #1 basketball team in the land. I'm telling you, you pissed off Nick Saban. He's got the #1 recruiting class. He's coming for his next championship, and we've got one of the baddest basketball teams in this. How about if the basketball team wins it all, and then Nick Saban follows it up? Would that be awesome here in the state of Alabama?
You want to know the process of becoming an auctioneer in the state of Ohio? There's 5 steps. No. First, you have to be 18 years of age or older. Second, you have to complete a course of study at an auctioneering school. You actually have to go to auctioneering school. Third, general and accurate knowledge of the following subject matters: Ohio Revised Code, the auction code, all that shit. Fourth, applicant must have a $25,000 bond. Fifth, you must pass a written examination. Dude, nobody's going to do that. Not an average person.
And you don't have to talk fast?
No, not to do an online auction.
It's a joke.
I think
so. I'll set up over at my mom's house in PA. I mean, that's the way around it, right? I wouldn't do it anyway. I don't auction anything.
I bet that's pretty standard. I bet across the country, taking auctioneers that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
I bet that's standardized.
Some
pretty close.
states aren't. Some states don't have any auction laws, but most do. And these laws are old. They're ancient, and they're due. I mean, we used to auction off people, and so a lot of the regulations came from that. But
Okay, so and I mentioned Dusty earlier. So Charlie Brown, in the vein of being truthful and honest, there's no plumbing in this building because it was too expensive. I will pee behind the building. Thank you.
I used to know a guy. He took a antifreeze bottle and cut it out in the shape of like a urinal, and then put a hose on the bottom of it, stuck it out the out the back wall of his garage.
Don't give me any ideas.
I'm just saying. He didn't even have to go out. He didn't have to go outside. Of course, if you did happen to walk behind his garage, oh my God, it stank back there. My dad was an auctioneer, by the way, but in the state of Pennsylvania, not Ohio.
The one thing that I have noticed, as sending, you should know your numbers. You should know what fees are. Amazon fees are not getting any cheaper. They are, the one thing that you could, when I first started, if you, 3 times was the great number. If you bought it for 10 and sold it for 30, you'd make at least your $10 in profit. That is no longer the case. You 3.5, 4 times sometimes to make the 100% back, the return on it. Really, I see a lot of people, and you look at the product and go, how are they selling this for this amount? And a mistake we make is we assume they got the same price we did. But then anybody can look at the fees and go, if they got it for free, they still lost money.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do they, they've got if they're an FBM like I am and they got it for free and they've got the same shipping, because I know the weight is the weight for everyone. So don't do this for free. Don't do this to lose money. Understand. And mostly, I sell a lot of discontinued stuff that's hard to find. And so you got to put some effort in to track this stuff down and go get it, because it's not going to be everywhere. Yeah, understand what your costs are. It is vital. Anybody who's new out there and new to this game, the first thing that's going to be hard is shipping. God, you got to learn shipping. Shipping is a monumental task to ship. Not only to ship well where stuff gets there without breaking, but you also have to ship where you don't lose your ass.
Mm-hmm.
And understand what cubic shipping is, what first class and how first class works, priority, UPS, FedEx. It is.
And realize that they change it all the time. Did you see Rockstar's video on changing? They're going to do away with first class, and they're talking about that and combining all the lower end shippings together, like Parcel Select and all that. I know they did away with Parcel Select a while ago, didn't they?
Then they brought it back, and they kind of been pushing it lately.
But anyway, they're going to try to do away with first class, and it's going to be called something different, and who knows. So you got to be up on that stuff. You better know your postal stuff.
I did not, but I'll check it out. Casey's got a good channel, Rockstar Flipper.
It's new,
he
so
takes
there's
a lot
not
of pride in putting out stuff first and staying on top of the stuff. So
there's not a lot of information about it, and it hasn't been approved by the powers that be yet. But who knows? Parcel Select for a long time wasn't the cheapest, but I hardly ever used it, only by accident once in a while.
So that would be wrong. Media Mail is the cheapest.
Well, yeah, but you better qualify.
I think
Media Mail isn't that much cheaper generally.
So Media Mail is which is strange, is different than the rest of them. Media Mail goes in increments like priority. It doesn't have the same increments that.
It goes up, I think, up to £1 for your lowest price, which is nice because DVDs are well under £1, but sometimes books are right there on that.
Because you can ship a season or a series for the same price you can ship just the regular ones. For me, it's $3. $3.65 is what I've been paying for media.
Mommy Income's in the chat. That's pretty cool.
Hey,
I
Miss
have a
Chris.
feeling media mail will change eventually too. They'll because people abuse it all the time.
And video games are not media mail, folks. Just in case
No,
you were wondering.
my wife was selling calendars, and she was sending a media mail. She got a nasty gram from the post office. She can't do that because it's not technically media mail. So
That's what I like about eBay labels for new sellers. It, depending on the category, it will gray out the media mail option. So unless you're using pirate shipping or trying to get around it, it'll prevent you from, using the media mail.
So sometimes that's good. So I've sold so much media here lately that I've been doing merchant fulfill on Amazon. Amazon sometimes it gives you. I mean, Amazon and their shipping, you've got to pay attention because
yes,
about 80% of the time they give you the media mail option. But the other 20%, I'm like, it could be up to $1 or so difference. I'm like, I'm not. So I go to Pirate Ship and copy paste the tracking in.
I think Amazon does that based on calculations of when it'll arrive, and if it doesn't arrive allegedly by the time,
Or it's when
because
how the listing was created too. If they didn't create the listing
could
correctly,
be,
I
it
think it's
could
more.
be, but
I think it's more. I have everything set for the slow boat on those kind of things,
yeah, so do I.
and so I think it's more because even some of them that I'm doing shipping and I sell something. I'm like, well, I'll send this out today. Even those will not have it, and I'm like, I can't ship it any faster than it sold an hour ago. So
Yeah, I'm sure there's some sort of calculation going on behind the scenes because I get it every once in a while with my DVDs because I have them all set to media, all of them.
this
Shipping is free for the blind. I didn't know that.
I did not know that either. See, even those
I don't know
grizzled.
how you take advantage of that. You'd have to look into that. But
Get some glasses and a cane and just walk in.
walk into the post office. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I
Oh,
got to
God.
ship this. I think to receive things, not to send them.
Oh, okay.
But maybe it's both ways. Who knows?
I saw a TikTok last night. A guy was walking with a cane, and he was zipped the cane up the back of the girl's short. Not nasty or anything, but just kind of touched her butt. And she turns around and looks, and he's moving the cane around, and he goes like he's going to act like he's going to walk into the street, and she goes act like she's going to help him across. After she went from being mad to she's going to help him across the street, right in the middle of the street, he turns back and shows her the camera. Yeah, hire a blind shipping agent. Okay, for the record, I would not. There's nothing. If you're not blind, that's not something for you.
No.
Be very very gracious. You have your site and pay for shipping. They would trade with you, and I'm telling you, they would trade with you in a heartbeat. They would tell you they'd love to have your site and pay for shipping, and you can have free shipping and be blind.
So, if you're following the rules, you're going to last. You're going to stick around for quite a while if you follow the rules. I used to watch all these drop ship guys just to see who stays around long enough. And out of the 10 guys I was watching, one is still around on YouTube.
Rick Moore. I wonder if he knows that he gets free shipping.
I'll have to talk to Rick. I don't know.
I mean,
Rick's
so
probably listening.
There are people. So Rick Moore.
I don't know. See, Rick's running a business though, so I don't know if that counts for business. It's probably just personal stuff.
Mind your own business. That is a very expensive price for free shipping. You're 100% correct. Kristen, I think we both have the same drop. I can't stand drop shippers. We're talking integrity again. I talked about it earlier. Part of having integrity is playing by the rules and doing the right things. Every one of these platforms all are outlaw third-party drop shipping. If John was here, he'd tell you he's a drop shipper. John, every
John's
manufacturer,
kind of
they're just they're the manufacturer is shipping for you. That's technically is a drop shipping, yes, but it's third party drop shipping from Walmart and all these other places where you don't own the inventory and you don't have any relationship with. Just because you bought it from Walmart, you don't have a relationship with Walmart. I can't stand any of this, folks. It's just
I have a
absolutely
love-hate relationship with the drop shippers because when they buy something of mine, I never have to worry about it coming back because obviously they can't send it back.
right.
So it's fine. I've never had issues with them. They might try to get money back, but I've never had issues with them getting it back.
I don't put a lot of them on the screen, but
That's why I changed from a 60-day to a 30-day return policy, because if I'm getting a drop shipper out there 60 days, they might be able to get it back from their, who they sent it to, then send it back to me. So I went to a 30-day.
I put somebody's comment on the screen just in your honor, John.
I used to do the whole drop shipping thing back in 2017 when I was still full time, and I just did it on the side. But you get to work under such small margins. I mean, like 5%, maybe 5, 10, maybe 10% margins. Bought a lot of gift cards to make it worth your while. Buying gift cards for like 50 to 75 cents on the dollar. But it was just not worth the time that you spent in it to the return. But what I don't like about it now, I've always been a reseller of actual hard goods and since like 2002. But what I don't like about it, ever since I started getting the liquidation game, is that when you're competing on the eBay platform against a bunch of drop shippers, the market is so flooded with drop shippers that your item it's hard to get your item on page 1 or 2.
Where's it at, Scott?
What?
Where's the llama?
And not to mention the overseas sellers from China that you're also competing against. That's why a site like Mercari is good for some items, where a lot better for some items than say eBay, because you have less competition.
The llama is not present. The problem with drop shipping for me, now people think drop shipping is a fairly new thing. It isn't. It's been going on since forever. Back in the 90s, I tried it with a company called SMC. It was that late night thing that you used to watch on with Tom Bosley, and they would sell these fancy products, and you could sell them and out of their catalog, and they drop ship them for you. It's been around forever. Didn't work then. It doesn't work now. Yeah. But the problem I have with it, is all the rules you got to break just to be able to do it.
Yes.
Stealth accounts and hide your information from eBay and Amazon or wherever you're drop shipping to, and that's why these guys don't last, because they get their accounts shut down.
Yeah, it happened to me. I about a year after I stopped drop shipping, I was deep into the liquidation game, and eBay flagged my account.
Yep.
And they wanted me to send in an invoice for every item. All I had were invoices for pallets, so I sent them in like 20 invoices for each of the shipments I had for the previous year, and they took the flag off my account. But it's just not worth it, I don't think.
How do you lose
There's another former SMC person in the chat. That's pretty cool. I bought some things from them and sold at flea market and did okay. But when I tried to drop ship on eBay, the market was so flooded. Even back then, this was the late 90s. So a lot of people think this is a new thing. Now, eBay didn't have any issues with it back then because there was no rules. But now there's rules, and
I wonder if Harlan came
SMC was pretty cool. But
you think Harlan came by and stole the llama?
He probably did. We'll blame it on Harlan. Oh, there it is. That's our drop shipping lesson right there. Only comes out when we talk about drop shipping.
Damn it.
The competition on that thing was so bad. I mean, I don't know how they made any money on it, but they must have been making a couple pennies. But it should have been the hot toy of that year, and it was.
So don't miss this. John had an important point. I see it in Ed Rosenblum's group. These platforms don't forget. They will go back years and see that you were a drop shipper or evidence that you were, and flag your account and suspend you. You see
just
it
like Facebook goes back and gets your meme from 4 years ago, and it's the same thing.
Yeah, so they don't forget, even if you delete it. Remember, on top of everything else, Amazon is one of the largest data companies in the world. They every day they have somebody trying to figure out how to get more information out of the data they have, and the drop shipping is just all the
I'm looking
energy
to see if SMC is still around.
you spend trying to hide. Did you spend trying to do anything? How much positive energy can you put into your real business? None of this is difficult. There are people. You want to learn
I did not post
everything I know about retail arbitrage. Take my course. You want to learn about bundles. Kristen's in the chat. I've got links to her course if you need one. There are ways that you positively use your energy in order. You're already going to be called a scam artist and all this stuff for reselling items because God forbid we actually make available things for sale that people want. Imagine that. So it's just don't do it the wrong way, because you need grace in this. Amazon's not perfect, and they suspend and things happen, and they make mistakes, and you're going to need grace at some point where you make a mistake, and so do as many things right as you can.
Looks like SMC is no longer with us. Specialty Merchandise Corporation is what it was called.
What meme did Steve post? They got me last year.
I didn't.
Stuff that I posted.
But I know a lot of people who, like Scott and my friend Chris, man, he got nailed for, and it wasn't even a bad one.
Yeah,
I think it might have been the same one.
Yeah, since I don't post as much of that stuff anymore, I just post humor now. I did post the one with the plane, because you know how they put the little things on the side. It had a balloon and it had two UFOs on the side of it. The jet. I thought that was pretty funny for kills.
I have number one never been in Facebook jail.
We're like on balloon 7 or 8. I don't know which one it is, but we're either on balloon 7 or 8.
My guess is, I don't know why they're calling them UFOs. I'm pretty sure they're the balloons, but
as the fire rages in Ohio, we'll be on like 40 or 50 here shortly. So
what I was saying when I had to switch internet connections is my wife's friend lived in that area. It's not a very upscale part of Ohio. It's a very poor part of Ohio. She doesn't live there anymore. She lives in West Virginia now, but
she stepped up to West
Virginia. Yeah, just over the river. But it's not a very, it's a very poor, very financially depressed area where that train went down.
Yeah, kind of sucks. Virginia is for the most part is a financially depressed area. But if you go through there, the scenic views through West Virginia, that's one of the most states. Every turn on any interstate you go down, I mean, just amazing vistas. West Virginia
and West Virginia. Yeah. Especially certain times of the year when you can see snow on the mountains and stuff. Oh my God, it's really cool. And I like where is it? Is that Virginia? Yeah, Fancy Gap. When you go in that area on whatever interstate that is, 77, I think. Fancy Gap area. Man, that's pretty to look over. And I always know when I'm getting close to where our destination. We're about an hour and a half away, I think, when we hit Fancy Gap. But it's really, I want to go there someday. I know there's nothing there, but I just want to go down in that valley.
West Virginia is the best Virginia.
Well, the other Virginia, you better be careful what you do. I mean, I drive the speed limit through that state, and I don't use a radar, and you better be careful.
Let's see how good West Virginia still is. Locations by state.
I wish I could spend more time, seeing parts of that. Now, if you take the scenic route through West Virginia, you're going to see some pretty depressing stuff sometimes. But it's a pretty state otherwise.
It used to be really good. It looks like they don't have very many anymore because they had Rite Aids in the middle of nowhere. I mean, to do anything in West Virginia, you've got to drive down the world's curviest road, get off an interstate. And, you come up in this little community that's got like a convenience store, a restaurant, and a Rite Aid. And
that's it.
back in the day, you had to get at least a basket, probably two, because the shit that I pulled out of some of them stores in the middle of nowhere,
there's a few of those in Ohio too, where you'll drive for an hour just to get to a Rite Aid. The one Rite Aid, I drove for an hour to get to it, and then the next one was like 45 minutes from there, and we pulled out 4 boxes of those eye drops. We were looking, it was great because nobody would go that far out of their way to get them. But that was $100 a box or something, at the time. Or
you find you get more success on those out of the way stores than you do in town.
So Kristen's got a question. Has
Absolutely.
anybody tried third-party fulfillment on eBay items? I have not. Anybody in the chat have any experience with? We got 131 watching. Any third-party fulfillment on eBay items? And if you're watching this later and you have this experience, leave in the comments if you're watching this later, or let us know your experience if you've done third-party fulfillment. Yeah, I've been to all the Rite Aids in Michigan quite a few times. My favorite ones are around Detroit. You have to drive through a burned out neighborhood and hope you don't get shot. Oh, wait a minute, there's a Rite Aid on the corner, and you think nothing of it, jumping out of the van and running in there.
There's some Rite Aids in Cleveland that I've been to that.
Oh yes, I've been
to sketch.
Yeah,
you have to drive through the East Cleveland, which used to be the best part of Cleveland back in the early days, but it's the worst part of Cleveland now, and you got to drive through there to get to these places. You don't stop, but get there.
The better ones in Michigan are on the western side, closer to the lake. Then, but I have found plenty in Detroit because nobody wants to go in some of those places. Ooh. Those are always the best stores, though. I'm telling you. I was in Baltimore 6 months after they burnt the CVS down and all that craziness, and I was in that area because I saw that CVS, where it used to be, and man, the Rite Aid was loaded. That was.
I can tell you, yeah, the bad areas of town, cities generally for Rite Aids are not as good, but the bad areas of the cities, yeah, you're gonna find some stuff in there. So, and the people who work there are the nicest people. They're the best employees.
That store had $85 Beanie Babies I found in there. It was the cat. It was the cow. The cow was the cow was so hard to find. They redid the cow a couple years later, but the old one had the only place I ever found them was in Baltimore. I found 3 of them in the same store. When you're pulling $85 Beanie Babies out of a Rite Aid, you're winning. That whole basket. The manager actually come up and asked me, I've never seen anybody buy a Beanie Baby, much less the entire basket full. And yeah, that was
well, that's a good sign though, that he's never seen anybody buy one.
Yeah. Just a good person in a bad area. He was a nice young man. I talked to him for about 30 minutes. He was fascinated with what I do, and I was still working on it at the time. So it's been
that's what every time I've been to one of those and they see us buying a bunch of stuff. Now we don't do it anymore, but when we were, those are the guys who always wanted to know. They're hustlers. They're in a bad area where nobody wants to work, but they're working and they're keeping a job. They're hustlers. They want to know how we do it. And hopefully, eventually one of them does do it, gets out of that situation.
That was years ago. Beanie Babies don't sell anymore.
Nah.
That was in 2016 to late 17. Since that time, they have just died up and gone away. Even though I didn't buy them. Even though I found one in a store on my run the other day that's worth like $37.
Yeah, they're done.
They're done.
Yeah. I actually have one I found at the bins. It's used worth $12. No, that's not a lot, but if I found that one new, still has its tags, but I won't sell anything from the bins that's new.
I got a bunch of McDonald's ones that are still in the little sealed pouch that I picked up, I think, at a yard sale, the whole container for like $3.
Yeah.
And I haven't even bothered messing with them.
Well, when you're in them that cheap, if you're selling them for $5 or $6 plus shipping or something, then you're not losing. You know,
Yeah. So this guy's not even on eBay. I never found out
there
where
are
he.
still a lot of good squishmallows out there. A lot of good squishmallows out there. I find those once in a while too. But I don't go out search. I don't do RA so much anymore, so I don't go out searching for them. But I know they're there.
So they're saying Wyatt's a green frog, but I'm sitting here looking at Wyatt. He is a watermelon. So here it is, pre-owned. Somebody wants 15 plus 3 shipping. I see that's another one. So $14.99 plus $2.94 shipping. 294 shipping.
Where the hell are you going to ship it for $2.94?
Anything for $2.94. Like, so that's.
I mean, you can ship that probably under $5, but not $2.94.
All right. So why are we not looking at completed?
You know, I think some of those people are eating part of the shipping, but other those people are using companies that they work at to ship for them, and they're getting free shipping that way.
21.49. $18.99 plus $10 shipping, so 28. So somewhere between 20 and 28. But then, of course, on December 1st, in the middle of the fourth quarter, somebody decides, you know what? I'll sell it for 16. What's wrong with you people? And then somebody here's the cardinal sin. What did they do wrong?
Auction.
They put it on auction.
There's your warning of the day. If you don't, auctions have a purpose. An item, a rare item, you don't know what the value is, but it's decent, or you don't just take whatever you want. But $4 plus $4.25 plus $5.60. So the shipping is covered. There's no way they got this for less than $4.25. Even I paid $3 or $4, and you got to pay fees on that.
People don't. I don't know. I don't know why anybody uses auctions for almost every category, or every category. I'm sure people are using auctions when it's very easy now to go back and look and see what things have sold for.
Okay, so
I don't think people know how to do that. Now that guy's probably worth a few bucks.
This one was $5.99, a bigger one. Let's see what
the foxes tend to be worth more, but that brown one is the better one, I think.
This one's fall debt. Man, they put a price right over the barcode.
I would still, in Ohio, even though they now require an auctioneer license, I'm sure there's a limit. I would still try to auction. I got all these little erasers, these from the 70s, and there's not a lot of comps on them, on the particular ones. So I'll probably auction those just for fun. But
all right, so there's 102 fall debts. Let's filter by completed.
I just think it's that people don't understand how the process works. It's a lot of new people.
Same price. So Kristen, we talked. I talked earlier about knowing your numbers. It's really that's the weakness, Steve, of using Amazon to unless you're using an Inventory Lab or an Exceller list or one of these third-party listing. It reminds you when you're listing, what your profit is. You can see it immediately, and so it helps you. I used to tell you that the main reason to use those services is they're easier. The labels print on demand, but as the live has gone away, it's still important because it helps you immediately see what your numbers are. For those of you who are numerically challenged, as long as you put in an accurate cost and put your selling price in there, it shows you. And also, if you set up your repricer at the same time or make some notes, you can see where to put your repricer ranges because, I didn't know where to set the repricer. I didn't know what the bottom range should be. If you've got the pricing information there and you can see that you're making $7, subtract 7 from your price and go, maybe my bottom needs to be, because that's my break even. And then your top can be something reasonable that you don't get high priced.
Like speaking from experience, I got into trouble because I didn't know my numbers. Well, you can see how much trouble I got into. You got to know what you're doing. That's why we're not doing that anymore. I'd still love to be doing RA. I know there's a lot of money in it, but you have to know your numbers, and I didn't. Even though I was using those programs, I still didn't know. Not really. Don't get into my situation.
If you're using a repricer like R, if you need a repricer, I've got R links in the below to get you started. They can help you. They have specific plans where you can put the minimum you want to return is like 30%, and the max you want to return is a couple hundred. Something that will put a normal range on a product. And so as long as you're accurately putting in the cost, it will give you the range. So that takes some of the anxiety out of the numerically challenged. If math is not your strength, because you walk around with a computer and are scared to
still not my strength,
swipe down and hit the calculator in case any kind of phobia you have with math. Repricers is built to say, I want to make 30%. I want to make a minimum 20%, whatever it is. There are strategies of repricers that if you set them up correctly and use the correct plans, and use the correct models.
Something just occurred to me. We have Storage Auction Pirate in the chat. He should go over to Pirate Ship and see if he can get a sponsorship from them. It would be perfect. Just saying.
Mike, what's up, man?
I think a lot of it, for people like me who aren't good at things, you should learn what you're not good at. Now, I had to learn a hard lesson, but stick with your strengths. My strength is finding stuff to sell on eBay. It is not finding stuff to sell on Amazon. Although I can find that stuff, it's not my strength, and I'm not going to focus on that anymore.
That big one was worth 26 plus shipping. That was the answer. I need to find it on the.
Wait, they said they're too small for sponsorships, but they run YouTube commercials all the time. Those aren't cheap. Whatever.
They're not too small for sponsorship.
No, they're not.
As much business as I've sent Pirate Ship, they should be contacting me.
Yeah.
I've been screaming Pirate Ship for how many years now? 5, 6,
at least
8?
5. I've been on the show for 5 now, and we've been talking about it before I got on the show.
And then, so we first started talking about it when Dusty was doing this show every day. When this show started, it was on Dusty's channel, and Dusty, I forget how long he did it. He did it Monday through Friday. He did it 5 days a week, and then he went to 3 days a week, and then he said, "Screw it." I'm like, "All right, I'm in." And
maybe they're just intimidated by you. Maybe he's too big of a channel for them to. That's it.
Yeah,
I can't imagine doing the show 5 days a week anymore. That it takes up so much time. I mean, we do this show I know we keep trying to trim it down to an hour, but we do it for 2 hours every Wednesday, and that's a big chunk of a day. To do that every day, and then still run a business and still do all the stuff. Boy, I mean, you guys were crazy back in those days.
Okay, so I missed last Thursday night because I was outsourcing. Going to move the night show to Sunday nights. Most Sunday nights I'm home, so there won't be a show tomorrow night. It'll be Sunday night. I'll go ahead and make the show at some time today.
Did I miss last week, or did you just not have one?
I was in the middle of nowhere, Alabama, with no signal. I didn't get home until 11:30. I had a couple people text me like, "Are you not doing the show?" And I sent them a picture of the woods. I'm like, I don't know where the hell I am. I'm on a blue line somewhere. I had gone down to my brother's, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to weave my way back through the country and hit as many small stores until they die, then hit a couple of Walmarts on their way in. So that's what
How much time do you spend in an average Walmart? You just kind of go towards certain sections, you know where you're going?
Depends on if I'm looking for specific items or what it is. On this one, I was just looking for like one section, 6 or 7 items. So I went through. I wasn't there very long.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it was late when I got to those 2 Walmarts, and I'm like, I'm ready to go home.
It's different depending on what you're doing. I know when we did Rite Aids, the first couple of Rite Aids, we'd scan extra stuff. If we found extra stuff, we'd pick it up at every Rite Aid. But then we were in out because you got to hit 32 Rite Aids in a day or something.
Right.
So the other stores that I went to were local stores, and I was not as familiar with those. So I spent quite a bit of time looking through the entire store. So I had like 15 to 20 things in my mind that I normally look for in these stores. And so I tried to scan anything that I didn't know around it. So as you look for where an item should be, you go, well, I hadn't seen this one today. So I was scanning on average 20 items a store, and I probably went to 15 or 18 stores that I'd never been to.
Back in the day with Rite Aids, especially, you could walk up and down the aisle and they would have really clear 75% off stickers. Those are the things I would scan real quick going through the store. I mean, it was easy. Now they don't do it that way so much. You don't see 75% off at Rite Aids that much anymore, except in the clearance section. But
yeah, because I had, and you think about it, you go, how much time does it take to do that? I mean, you're just hitting the button on. I wasn't using the 14 because that thing sucks. So I had the other phone with me tethered to it. So the XS Max is still in the van. I didn't take it out of the van. It's still in the van. Very quick to hit the button. And you think about it. How long does it take to scan 20 items? It really a couple minutes. It's really, there's not, people think you give them a number like that and they think, oh my God, how did you? And you start realizing it doesn't take that much. And then how many of them do you have to type in? Especially dealing with Amazon. So eBay is a different animal. If you're looking to buy stuff for eBay, a scan of the barcode is just a start. You really on eBay, you're doing yourself that's just to see if you can get your foot in the door. If you're not, using voice search, if you don't want to type it in, oh, it takes me too long to type it in. Use the little voice search. Most of these phones have a little button, hit it, and just speak to it.
Mm-hmm.
If they will understand me and my mumbling country redneck self, they will understand you much better. And just speak it into the search bar and hit search on eBay. It's very quick. Even there, you're not taking very long.
And use Google Lens. Oh my gosh, that has upped my game quite a bit. Because I don't know what to call things. I don't know like specific characters from some TV show that I've never seen. I don't know what the name of that stuff is. But Google Lens has been a huge, huge asset.
Yep.
It's because
and then I don't know what to call something. I'll look it up on Google Lens, then I'll type it into eBay.
Especially for Amazon, Google Lens, eBay it does very well too. But you got to remember, if you're looking up something on Google Lens, all these Amazon listings, for the most part, are SEO ranked on Google because they come up. If you go search for whatever you think of in Google right now, a product, it's going to show up on Amazon pretty quick in the search because their listings don't get taken down. They're, one of the things you can do on Keepa is hit the little button and to all 4,700 days, so that means that listing has been up 4,700 days. It is optimized for Google. Google has picked it up. There's a reason why Amazon didn't out of the blue go, you know what, we're going to make everybody use white backgrounds because, our founder, Jeff Bezos, was in the Klan. He didn't say that. Google's upsearch, Google demands white background images because that is easier to see and that is what they search. So Amazon, in their infinite wisdom, goes, we want you to find us on Google. We want to be at the top. So what's the easiest way to do this is make your pictures compliant to what Google looks for. Mm-hmm. It is not there's nothing wrong with a blue background. If you want to use green, purple, whatever. But when the search engines and where people are looking for a lot of this stuff, it's advantageous to you to use the white. So Amazon listing is SEO. Kristen can tell you all about this. She's a master of building these listings. Um, you want it in Google search. You want your traffic to come from, everybody goes, I want to be number one in search. Where is it? This search is not just Amazon search. You want to be in Google search too, or an Amazon listing. And so all the traffic sources can combine together to find your item.
Well, it kills me that people leave so much money on the table. I'm just talking about eBay at this point. For me, it's about 10 to 15% additional traffic just from the external Google search that I get on my items. And, people want to poo-poo that. And they say, well, I'll just use my gray background. I'll use my countertop in my kitchen. And for me, that 10 to 15% will pay for the like a background removal tool, like a photo room, that type of thing. I think I pay $60 a year. But, for me, it allows you to not have to have a fancy photo setup, just some adequate lighting. You can go anywhere. You can put it on your bed if you want to and take some photos and use that photo background removal tool. And you're going to be pushed in Google search because you meet the criteria.
See the vinyl hanging there? It doesn't even have to be fancy. I've got vinyl zip tied to the back of the shelves. When I list an eBay item, I just stick it in front of the white vinyl. It don't even have to be fancy. I mean, you can do this. You can do this on the cheap. You can go get backer board from Dollar Tree, poster board, anything to make a white background. This is not different. You don't even have to use those. Google search is not looking for perfect like Amazon, where they require perfect white. On Google, 90% white is good enough. Anything you can do. If you're going to build listings on Amazon, learn the correct way. Learn, because you want your goal is to build a listing that you can sell a lot of over a long period of time. So you want it ranked in search. You want it ranked on Google. You want it ranked, and so the more right you can make a listing, proper keywords, proper pictures, all this stuff. You sell more items, and that's the name of the game.
Yeah, I think you get a lot of crossover people from Poshmark who trying to make their photos look cute. Throw some stuff in the background of their item. Fluff it up. But honestly, it may work on Poshmark, but it's not going to work on Google or shopping or on eBay. To me, you may have success. So this is another thing. People say, well, I have success using my gray little carpet that I might have, or my gray or black countertop, and I sell just great. Well, you're leaving 10 to 15% additional, at least traffic, at least item views, impressions that you can turn into page views and ultimately sales if you just did it the way eBay is asking you to do it.
Brenda, I did see the super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I take pictures wherever I can. So, like my kitchen counter for big items. And I understand that that's not Google friendly, but those things still sell for me. But when I take the smaller items, I have a nice solid background. It looks good. So I don't know that there's for eBay. This is for eBay. And right. I think the more professional it looks on eBay, the less likely I'm going to buy it. That's just me, because I know that it's not as good of a buying experience as me buying from a regular person. So I don't want I want my photos to look a little flawed, at least on eBay.
So you're getting good sales. You're getting good sales with that, right? So I guess the question to you is, wouldn't you sell X amount a day with your current setup? Wouldn't you want to add an additional 10 to 15% of traffic to your items to potentially add more sales by simply either continue doing what you're doing with your current background that you have, maybe use a background removal tool.
Sometimes I do.
I just think that some people think, well, because I've made sales, it's fine. But you may be fine, but you may be losing
it's possible
ranking or placement in search because of the fact that you don't have what eBay's asking you for. That's my thing I've learned.
And I agree with you there.
Yeah, eBay's asking you, hey, we want you to do these things. And I think they do it for a reason. And if you ignore those things, you can still make sales, but your listing's not going to be optimized in eBay's eyes.
I think for a lot of us, I don't have the room to set up a photo booth. So Right now, it's my Glowforge sits right here next to me, and on top of that is where my background is.
Yeah, but
So
you don't
that's where
need
I
a
take
photo
all my
booth.
pictures.
You don't
But
need one.
so when I get a bigger item, I take it out to the kitchen. That's all.
Yeah.
The small items all get done in here on
I
the
mean, you
nice
could do it in
bigger
your
one.
driveway. You can do it in your backyard. You
Sure.
could do it on your unmade bed. Simply use a background removal tool, and no one will know any better.
As long as you use a good background removal tool. I've seen so many bad
yeah.
ones on eBay. Oh my, eBay's background removal tool sucks.
No,
Use
photo room is what I use.
iPhone now, if you do that copy subject, oh my god, that's a good background removal.
That one's good.
I love it.
That one's good.
It.
You hold.
Yeah.
I think you hold the photo down with your finger.
Yeah. So
yeah, I love iPhone.
He is asking, what about a white
Hey,
object on a white background?
Well,
remember, most of these platforms say your pictures are best if the item takes up 75% of the picture. So I would tell you, the more of the item you can put in there, the less the background matters for white on white.
So this is an eBay item. I'll hide their address here. I just got in the mail. What's wrong with this picture?
Looks like they went and paid retail for their label.
They bought a label, but they also put my address.
Well, now you just doxed yourself.
And everybody, all you got to do is buy something from my eBay store to get my address.
What Steve is saying is, on these iPhones, if you hold that.
Now, where do you put that? So once you have that, right?
It.
So I want to make a photo of that dog, right?
I'm a copy. And then you can put it wherever. Johnny likes it when I send her pictures. You hit paste, and now he's in the text. And then, just for fun, we're going to. God damn! I hit send.
How do you save that as a photo you can use to list with?
If you hold the button down and then go to screen, here. This is what Johnny's about to get.
That's cool.
So what I do is I just paste it into GIMP or something like that, or Photoshop or whatever you use, and then save it that way.
She never gets mad if you send her pictures of. This is what she didn't get mad.
You can send that to yourself.
That's what I get. He's so cute. I don't even get.
I mean, I don't do it on the phone. I do it on the computer generally, so I can save it.
Take a screenshot of that with the white background, and then you have it saved as a photo on your phone that you can actually throw into a listing.
I can't use I can't do it on the phone right now because
you copy it, and once you copy it, you can paste it anywhere. So that's not a big deal. It's copy paste. You can paste it into the pictures.
Into your pictures, right? You can't. Yeah, what I'm saying is that just to create a photo you can use for eBay with that. You gotta do like a screenshot.
Yeah, Kristen, I don't know if you've seen that's the newest edition. He is 8 months old now. That's Franklin the Terrible. Because Johnny still had to have 3 dogs. Okay, so the other thing I would tell you about, learn your phones, folks. You guys know I watch a lot of phone videos. I watch a channel called Zoltech or Zol something. Mainly all Apple. I have Apple products. I have an iPhone. I have this computer I'm using now, but John sent me this one because he's downsizing. It's got a broken screen, but it's a great computer. It's a newer MacBook. But Siri sucks. So if you've got between Siri and Google Assistant runs Siri. Google Assistant will answer a question, and Siri will say, "This is what I found to search on the web."
Yeah.
So Zoltech or Zol, whoever they are, I'll find it. After I finish talking, when one of these guys talks, I'll find the exact channel. I'll put a link in there.
Talk.
Chat GPT. You can connect Chat GPT to Siri and super. So this will be Siri. Hey Siri, what year was the iPhone invented?
Here's what I found.
Yeah.
Okay. Siri Pro.
What can I help you with?
What year was the iPhone invented?
The iPhone was first released in 2007.
So it goes and gets the information from ChatGPT instead of giving you a link, it makes Siri 10 times better.
How do you make it do that?
You have to use a shortcut.
Huh.
It's easy. I'll link the video. So this is very helpful for if you're wanting direct answers for stuff that you're looking for how to do things. If Siri will tell you exactly what having to go through any search, because you just have to hold the button down to activate the shortcut, and then you tell it, "Hey."
Yeah, because I never use Siri because
She's terrible.
once in a while, if I'm like, what she's good for is if I'm out in the middle of nowhere and I want to know my location, Siri, where am I? You know, that kind of thing. But other than that, she doesn't do very good for me for anything else.
I have to tell Siri to call Joni. She'll do simple
Well, yeah, I'll do that stuff too. You know, like I'm in the car driving and I need to call my son or something.
That was an interesting video I just watched on phones, and I'm like, it took me like 5 minutes to do it. You go right through it. He tells you, set up open shortcuts, copy, go to a link, copy paste this. It's easy. John, Kristen had a question. Where'd you get your neon sign made?
I'd say a couple years ago was a gift from my wife for Christmas. She had it made on Etsy. I think it was like $300 or $400. But going to Etsy, you can find a number of sellers that'll make it for you.
Is that real neon or is that just LED?
I think it's neon. Yeah, neon.
Because there's some LED now that you can get and make it into shapes like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all over Etsy as well.
So that's one of the frustrating things. I use Google Assistant when I had my other phones before I switched back to iPhone. Siri has been terrible, and so it's now I can ask it questions, and it'll I just got this last night, so I haven't played with it enough. But it is using Chat GPT because to start you got to go get the keys from OpenAI in order to put in there. Developer keys, and if you got an account, they'll give you your developer keys. And so now I have the ability to use Chat GPT through Siri. I'm writing one of my blogs. Say I'm making an eBay listing, and I wanted to make a description of something. You can quickly make it do a description. It'll write it out as well as speak it. Copy paste it into your listing. That's how using Chat GPT through your assistant in your phone becomes very easy to ask it simple questions. And you see, Siri understood me, and that's a miracle in itself.
There's a Chrome extension that you can download and make Chat GPT on the internet. And the one that you would use on a web browser also connect to the internet. I haven't played with it much yet, but it can do.
Yeah, you're gonna have to show me that after the show on what you did there.
Let me find that video real quick. Search mine. Nope. But this is a cool video. It's called Zolotech. Zollo. Pretty interesting guy. He has a weekly thing about iPhones. Copy. We're going to paste. Paste. All right, there's the link to that video. I'll put it in the private chat so y'all can get it.
Okay.
I got it already.
But it's interesting what you can, the one thing that I'm trying is I made this after I started setting this computer up when I got it yesterday, and I'm like, why do I not do just everything? If I'm going to use Apple, why am I not using everything? Why am I not using the mail in the computer is free? Why am I not using Keynote to help set, do things in the course? Why am I not using Numbers, their spreadsheet? Why am I trying to force everything outside their ecosystem? Whereas if I keep it in this system, this computer and the one inside, they have the same thing. If I do it on this,
talk to each other.
It puts it on that one. It puts it on your phone. been trying to be more organized, and so the phone has notes and reminders. There's Android versions of these things too, but if I'm sitting and I think of something, I've got the computer in front of me, I can type the notes in, it puts it on the phone. You can set it. It's amazing how much
I found Keynote's super easy to work with, and it makes a really nice presentation. I did my course that one time with it. Numbers works just like every other spreadsheet, and it'll save it as whatever file you need it to. So that's how I sent all my stuff to Jared, the accountant, was through Numbers. I didn't go and try to make some other sort of file or anything. So the ecosystem's nice if it all works together, and you can transfer things from your phone. And like when I check my mail, I can just click the mail icon, and it comes up on if I'm checking it on my phone, it'll come up on my computer. It's kind of nice.
But it's absolutely amazing. The more things you can learn and automate. What's his name? Who Dylan from Aura. Every time I have him on, that's the one thing he will tell you. And I need to have Dylan on the channel again. Man, fascinating young man, and his whole mantra since I've known him
right back
over the last 4 or 5 years has been he's doing everything he can to automate everything in his life, and so he's building the R repricer the same way. He's trying to get it to where when you import prices, it automatically assigns so all you have to do is go in and toggle it on, because it's going to assign a strategy, and it's going to calculate what your mins and max are based on the strategy that you choose. And so just to set the repricer up, it's just basically activating and I think he's going to automate that where, so it's interesting. The iPhone is easier than Android for the most part, even though they have a lot of the same. The iPhone is made to do things for you. The Android is you have more customization, but you have to tell it more things to do. So this stuff is out there, folks. It can make your life easier. What you get an extra 30 minutes a day back. That's your 30 minutes. Use it for family time. Use it to. But Beard, I can't get 5 listings done a day. Well, if you automate some things and make your life easier, what's 30? I mean, there's your 30 minutes back. I go over a couple in the class that I built. I've tried to make some of that stuff in there. So today I'm shooting a video on how to use an extension and then how to customize the extension for easier use when you're doing research. And it's important that not only that you learn things, but then you learn easier ways to get the same thing done, so you can get some of your time back.
I like Tactical Z says using ChatGPT to reply to customers, it'll be way more professional than I can be when it's replying to a customer, and that might be a really, really good use for it.
Yeah, it takes a lot
not
of
that I'm not professional. It takes the emotion out of it.
Yep, absolutely, 100%.
You always check it over to make sure it's saying what you want it to say, and you can prompt it to do whatever you want it to do. But in the end, it's going to be an emotionless response to a customer question, and that's where you want to be professionally.
Now, if we can just get ChatGPT to answer calls at eBay, we'd be all right.
Oh, that'll happen. It's in the cards. I guarantee it. A lot of companies are using AI to, especially with their chat bots. It's all AI anymore.
All right. Well, hopefully we've given you something to think about today. We tried to cover a lot of topics. Hopefully we hit something that you're interested in. And if we don't hit a topic that you're interested in, that you want us to talk more about, comment either below or in the chat. We don't know everything, but we'll talk about it. And there's plenty the people in the live chat. Everybody but Lag is pretty smart.
Everybody but Lag, yeah.
Everybody but Lag. Because you just get straight nonsense out of Lag. But sometimes we need that too, so that's all right.
Lag can be decent.
Be sure to hit the like button on the way out, though, guys.
Yeah, we try to make conversation where just different, because you can go listen anywhere to get the straight talk of. I don't know how many people are talking to you about an iPhone optimized through GPT to help you write a listing that you can copy paste. I'm probably the first. But just to be different and to make you think. A lot of this game is to get you out of your comfort zone, to think differently about the way you're doing things, because you're never going to change. You're never going to get that breakthrough. That's why having bad things like returns and other things happen, maybe you lose money or buy a bad product, is because it forces you to think around it, to figure out, I always do this and it didn't work this time. So what did I miss? What did, the negative things are a way to force you to see things different. So hopefully a different conversation will force you to see it without having to have the pain of the negativity.
By the way, that was retail postage. It says so right on the label. Retail right there at the top.
How did it get so cheap?
Yeah.
It's media mail.
Is there no discount?
Media mail, there's no discount on eBay or pirate ship.
There's no discount for media mail.
So if you're sending media mail and you don't but here's the other issue with this, and I know we're done. This took a week for them to send. They're definitely not a professional eBay seller, and everything they do is an auction. That's how I got it cheap, because it was an auction. So.
Make your life easier. If you don't have a printer, and that should be a higher your priority list. One of the first things you buy is doing this game.
Scale on a printer.
On eBay, I don't know if Amazon offers it yet. I know eBay does. Take the code down there and let the post office print out your label for you. Pay for it through eBay system. Save the 30% average of 30%, and let the post office print your label for you. Don't pay for it there. Pay for it through eBay. Get the scan code.
Yeah, they're making it easy nowadays with that QR code and everything.
Yep.
There's no excuses.
Yep, absolutely none. All right, that's all I got for you today. See you Sunday night. I'll try to make a video between now and then. Roll Tide. And John said flipping ain't easy.